what's happening here in the Permian Basin is having a tremendously positive benefit for the entire state of Texas. My name is Landgraf, and I'm a state representative from Odessa, Texas, and I've been serving in the Texas House since 2015. Well, being state representative is my first public office to hold, but I've always been active in the community, and in fact that's one reason why I got into this type of public services, because I was born and raised into a family that where my parents taught my sisters and me to give back to a community and a state that's given us so much. Well, to me personally, the oil and gas industry is the backbone of our economy here in the Permian Basin, but also it's the heart and soul of the state of Texas. You know, we talk about a Texas miracle that's created an unprecedented number of jobs and generated so much wealth for the state, but none of that would be possible without the natural resources that we're blessed to have here in the Permian Basin and the hardworking individuals who are able to extract it and make it productive. Well, you know, we're fond of saying that no matter where you are in the Permian Basin, even if you don't directly work in the oil and gas industry, you work in the oil and gas industry, because every job is related to oil and gas in some way. So there may be a couple of degrees of separation, but if not for the oil and gas industry and that energy-based economy, there wouldn't be a need for retail, for restaurants, for hotels, for so many other businesses that are here in support of the industry. So we really, we've done a great job of diversifying our economy in recent years, but at the end of the day, the backbone of the economy is still hydrocarbons. Well, let me just talk about a new industry that's popped up that's related to that, but it's the sand mining industry here in the Permian Basin, particularly in Winkler County, Andrews County, even going down into Ward County. But sand is being used for hydraulic fracturing of oil and gas wells. We've had sand out here for, well, forever, quite frankly, but it was never thought to be suitable for fracking purposes. But thanks to some technological advancements, it is able to be used. And so now, instead of bringing in sand from Wisconsin by rail thousands of miles away, we're able to use local sand, and it's also having a tremendous impact on the economy, but also bringing down costs for oil and gas operators. Well, it's important for our local schools, but quite frankly, the entire state benefits from oil and gas production here in the Permian Basin, whether it's through oil and gas severance tax, whether it's through property tax that's collected by local school districts but then distributed under a system of recapture all across the state, whether it's oil and gas that's produced on university lands that benefits the endowments of the Texas A&M University system and the University of Texas system. What's happening here in the Permian Basin is having a tremendously positive benefit for the entire state of Texas. Of course, we get to see some of that benefit here locally, but maybe not as much as we should. One thing that I'm particularly proud of that I've worked on for the 2 sessions that I've been in the Texas House is a bill called the Texas Fuels for Texas Fleets bill, which actually is directed to better utilize our natural gas resources here in Texas. So as a rookie freshman legislator, I tried to get this bill passed and came up just short in my first session, but I vowed to come back in 2017 during my second legislative session to get it passed, and thankfully we were successful the second time around. But what it does is it takes an underutilized Texas emission reduction plan fund that has more than $1 billion in it. It's not really being used to its highest degree. Now, it does have some limitations. This needs to be used to reduce carbon emissions in the state. But one way that I think that we can do that is to allow government fleet vehicles to run on cleaner burning natural gas rather than gasoline or diesel. We have a tremendous amount of natural gas across the state and here in the Permian Basin. And so it's a way to take an underutilized resource and pay for it with underutilized funds without raising fees or taxes or anything like that, but to help create an even stronger market for natural gas here in the state and also help the environment at the same time. So through the Environmental Regulation Committee and the Energy Resources Committee during the 85th legislative session in 2017, we were able to get that passed. Thankfully, when I talk with my constituents in the Permian Basin, pipelines are kind of a way of life for us out here. It's something that we're accustomed to. I know that's not the case for everybody in other parts of the state or other parts of the country where pipelines, I think, unnecessarily kind of get a bad rap. But when you think about it, a pipeline is the cheapest way to transport hydrocarbons from the area where they're produced, either to a refinery or to a port. But the other thing is, we have a tremendous safety issue with the high amount of traffic that we have here in the Permian Basin and throughout the state of Texas. But when you have transportation pipelines, that means that you have fewer trucks that are out on the highways that are, competing with all other types of traffic. So it's not only a cheaper option, it's a much safer option. And also landowners tend to benefit from it as well because they're getting paid for the use of their land. So I see it as a win-win. I think everybody in the Permian Basin does. And it might be on us to help educate the public a little bit more on the tremendous benefits that pipelines provide. Here in the Permian Basin, we do have one of the lowest unemployment rates, not only in the state but in the country, and we do have a tremendous amount of wealth that's generated here, and that leads to high-paying jobs. And so that's very positive, but I think we as a community also have to make sure that we're taking care of our infrastructure to accommodate this growth and accommodate the wealth that's being generated here. So we have to make sure that we have good roads in place. We have to make sure that we have good schools that are able to educate the next generation of leaders for our community and leaders in the industry. And so we do have some challenges, but we're certainly thankful and feel blessed to be in the position that we're in, where we can cultivate our natural resources and allow the entire state, country, and really the world to benefit from it.